In the last few years, I think it's absolutely no secret that we've seen crazy amounts of spending on some absolutely incredible players, some top class, and just overall huge transfers. And it's very important to note that this transfer window is no different. And unless you're like a Fabrizio Romano Twitter demigod, you can't quite keep track of all the crazy transfers that have been going on. Today, I'll be mentioning just some of the biggest ones. Now, just before I start, I would like to mention that this graph right here, this statistic, is incredibly sad. Please subscribe, and yeah, let's get into it. Now, let's start off with the Champions League finalists, Real Madrid, and the signings that they have made are pretty interesting. It's probably well known by now that they did sign Chelsea and Germany center back Antonio Rudiger on a free, which is an already really good transfer to start off with. He's a player that has already proved his strength and how good he is in the English Premier League. So this is just a no-risk signing that will undoubtedly work out. Their second signing carries a lot more risk, mainly because it cost them quite a bit. Tchouaméni, who has been very good for AS Monaco, went to Real Madrid for quite the sum of money. Of course, with such a price, there is a lot of pressure for Tchouaméni to hit the ground running. However, he is only 22, and he has a lot of time to prove himself. After the friendly game against Barcelona, let's just say that opposition fans weren't very impressed. And of course, while all of that does carry a certain amount of speculation of whether if he's actually worth the money, I believe that at the end of the day, he will be worth the cash in a season or two. Now, those with the Real Madrid signings, or at least the ones that were noticeable, the ones from their rivals are quite a bit bigger. FC Barcelona were not holding back, as they had signed a crazy amount of players. They signed Danish Chelsea center back Andreas Christensen on a free, and they signed Franck Kessie from AC Milan on a free as well. Of course, both very talented players, and the fact that they're coming on the free just adds to already the badge of how good this transfer is. Also, probably potentially the biggest signing of the window was Lewandowski going to Barcelona. For 45 million, some might say that it's not quite worth it as he's an aging player, but he's proven that he can score a lot of goals, and I think that's what Barcelona really needs. Besides that, their other signing is the signing of Rafinha. The Brazilian Leeds right winger was involved in what almost looked like a relegation clash, but nonetheless has already performed well in the friendly against Real Madrid. For a decent amount of cash, Barcelona has now gotten a great right winger on top of already a good striker, a decent CDM, and a decent center back to top it all off. In conclusion, Barcelona has had quite the efficient window, and I think everyone can be quite impressed with their signings. Now, I already mentioned two Chelsea center backs going away on a free, so how did they deal with that? The signing of Kalidou Koulibaly from Napoli was an absolutely huge one. He's been constantly rumored that he's going to go to England, and with this transfer to Chelsea, he has finally gotten his chance, and honestly, he does deserve it. However, that is not the only signing that Chelsea made. They also purchased Raheem Sterling from Manchester City. Raheem Sterling just kind of fits the kit in a weird way, and honestly, it just seems like a really good signing for Chelsea. Chelsea has also had quite a good window, and I think that's quite an understatement. Obviously, they're also looking to track down and purchase Koundé from Sevilla. However, Barcelona seems to be trying to hijack that deal as well, but I guess we're just going to see what happens with that. Now, Arsenal, their London rivals, have also made quite a couple purchases. The biggest one probably being the signing of Gabriel Jesus from Manchester City, who has proved himself to be a very good striker, and I think he does deserve to get to play actual first-team regular football more consistently. However, that is not the only Manchester City player they signed. They also signed left-back Alexander Zinchenko. Now, I don't know a lot about him. I don't know a lot about Gabriel Jesus either, but Arsenal fans seem to be pleased with the signing, and I think that's what truly matters. They also signed some guy named Fabio Vieira from Porto, but that's the first I've ever heard of him, and I don't think he's very noteworthy now. Now, their London rivals, their North London rivals in Tottenham Hotspur, have been doing a lot of business. They have signed young Brazilian striker Richarlison from Everton. They've signed experienced trophy winner Ivan Perisic from Inter, and they signed Bissouma, who is a central midfielder, from Brighton. Of course, you have the signing of backup goalkeeper Forster and, of course, Lenglet. But, I mean, Lenglet's highlights reel wouldn't suggest that he's any good. Spurs have been busy, and I think they're genuinely trying to aim for silverware. It's just a shame that they're Spurs. Liverpool have only really made one actually noteworthy signing, but it is very noteworthy as they signed Darwin Núñez, who was very explosive last season for SL Benfica. The fee is quite outstanding, and does he actually deserve it after one good season of football? I don't know. But it is important to mention that he did score 4 goals against Leipzig in a friendly, so maybe he is worth the money after all. Their rivals Man United haven't quite made the big money moves, but, it is what it is. They signed a left back called Malacia from Feyenoord, and they signed Alessandro Martinez from Ajax. Martinez, by joining Manchester United, has now become the shortest center back in the Premier League. This all resulted in some absolutely beautiful memes, but if Man United actually want to challenge for silverware, they're going to need some more signings. Manchester City have actually done quite well. They, of course, signed Erling Haaland, which was absolutely huge for them. And for the price they signed him at, you could say that Dortmund were definitely robbed. They also signed Julian Alvarez from Boca Juniors, was it again? The young Argentinian striker has already shown his ability to score goals, and there's no doubt that he will definitely be a good addition to this Man City squad. They also signed Leeds United central defensive midfielder Calvin Phillips, which to me just seems a very unnecessary signing. And they also signed a new backup goalkeeper in Ortega from Arminia Bielefeld. Some very good transfers for Man City, but Erling Haaland is definitely the best one. Even if he cost way more, he would have still been an absolutely perfect signing. Now, Dortmund may not have received much money for Haaland, or at least not as much as they probably should have. They still made that money work. Schlotterbeck had an amazing season for Freiburg, so they purchased him, which was already a great signing, and on top of that, they also purchased Sebastian Haller. Sebastian Haller had an amazing season for Ajax, and unfortunately he will be out for the rest of the season due to some testicular tumor, which I wish him the best of luck in his recovery. However, don't for a second think that Dortmund are going to be without a striker for the rest of the season, as they bought German youngster striker Karim Adeyemi. If you know him, you probably know him through Career Mode or Football Manager, but this guy is a bit of a beast in real life. I mean, you can pretty much tell by just these stats. And if all of that wasn't enough to convince you, they also got Niklas Süle on a free from Bayern. Now, those were not the only players they signed some more, but I thought these guys were worthy of being mentioned. Some absolutely amazing signings. Now pose the question of, can they challenge Bayern? Well, let's take a look at Bayern's transfers. Of course, we can start off with the fact that they did let Lewandowski go, but they also purchased Sadio Mane. Personally, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but if I was a Liverpool fan, I would consider Mane one of our greatest ever legends. He did a lot for the club, and that's kind of an understatement, and I truly believe that Bayern couldn't have gotten a much better signing this window. On top of that, that wasn't all they did. They signed 2 Ajax players, one of them being this guy, and Gravenberch. I think these were very good signings, as both of them had very impressive seasons at Ajax, and of course, Gravenberch definitely has more room to grow. A bit of a shock signing was when Kevin De Ligt joined them as well. Maybe I am a little bit stupid, but I think this kind of came out of nowhere and it was just really surprising news to me. Now, I'd love to cover the Italian transfer window, but the video is getting kind of long now and I don't even know if anyone's going to actually enjoy this. But in case you do, leave a like rating and of course leave a comment as well. Yeah, of course, subscribe, all that jazz. And I'll see you soon. I've got some videos coming out, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you all. and goodbye.